Hey guys, Shane with DNS Adventures here, and today I'm going to show you how we deal with hard water while we're traveling and living full-time in our RV. Well guys, today I'm going to talk to you about how we deal with hard water with our RV and our rig. We didn't really have any issues with our water being hard or anything until we really got out and spent the winter in the desert. That's when we noticed our lines the water pressure was starting to go down a little bit, and every once in a while we saw like little bits of hard deposits and stuff coming out through our sinks and our shower, and you could see around the shower head it was starting to collect just like you would in a house or anything. So we were like, well, that's one thing we never even thought of when we were out on the road, getting a water softener of some kind for the RV, but that's exactly what we needed to do. It actually got so bad that our water pump was kind of seizing up a little bit. Like, we obviously waited way too long before realizing we needed a water softener. So all the water pressure and all the sinks and stuff were getting clogged up from all the hard mineral deposits, and there was something we had to do, and a water softener was the best route. But before we got the water softener, we had to do something else. Before we got a water softener, we had to clean out our system. So what we ended up doing is mixing some white vinegar and water and using our Nautilus system here and pumping it through our system, which included our water pump since that was seizing up a bit. We actually pumped a little bit into our water heater as well, which takes up a lot of the solution since it's a 6 gallon water heater, or 6 gallon water tank. We had to buy a lot of white vinegar. Definitely go to the box store, a big box store, and buy in bulk if you can to save some money on that white vinegar. But we pumped it through our system and we actually let it sit there overnight. So definitely collect some water if you're living in your rig full time. Collect some water so you have something to drink, and make sure you take your showers before you before you have it sitting in your tanks and everything to clean out all that hard deposit. And it did a really good job. The next day we were able to flush a lot of it through. I mean, there's still some in the system, but we were able to get most of it out. The next step was figuring out what kind of water softener to get. We saw that there's some inline, like, I don't know if it's not UV, some sort of electromagnetic pulse thing that apparently does a good job based on some of the reviews, but we decided just to get a regular old-fashioned water softener, and we decided to go with this on-the-go system. I think this is just the standard, it's not the double, but it's actually lasted surprisingly long time. We haven't even regenerated this yet, and we've had it in here for like 2 or 3 months. So obviously the water at the campgrounds we've been at hasn't been extremely hard ever since we bought this thing. But we bought this when we were in Kentucky after we were in Indiana for a couple months during the whole beginning of the COVID situation. Hit the road again. We ended up picking this up at a Camping World. I'll put a link probably to Amazon or something below where you can check it out yourself if you're interested. But this thing has lasted for a really long time. It comes with this little on-off valve here, and you literally just have your water flowing directly through it back into your regular input. It's not a very hard setup. Today I'm actually going to be regenerating this because we haven't done it in a while. I don't know if the test itself will really prove we need to regenerate it, but it's just been so long, and these are only supposed to last about a month, and it's lasted so long that I'm just going to go ahead and use that salt to clean out the resin that's in the bottom of this thing. So each of these water softeners, at least on the go, come with this water hardness test here. I'm just going to go ahead and fill up this cup with some water and see how hard our water really is before we regenerate the softener. It kind of looks like our tests have already expired, so that also might be why our tests are not completely accurate. The instructions say to dip this test strip in for 3 seconds without any motion, pull it out, and then we compare it up to the color test that's on the container itself. So 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. And as you can see, it is changing color a little bit, although it hasn't changed too much. It looks like it's a little orange, so we'll compare that to the test over here now. It hasn't shown that it's gotten really hard in this area, so I don't think the water is really even all that hard at our campground we're at currently, but it looks like it has gotten a little bit darker, so it probably is time to go ahead and regenerate. It's probably between this 2 and 4 here somewhere. And the great thing about these RV, at least this on the go water softener, all you really need is just some iodized salt. I don't think it even needs to be iodized, but you need how much is this? 26 ounces of salt. That's all you need in order to clean this guy out. So if you don't want to watch me do it, I'll just put the link to the on-the-go instructions on how to do this. It's really not that difficult, but obviously first step is to turn off your water supply so you don't have water going everywhere while you're trying to do this. Got that thing disconnected. Now it says second step is to disconnect the outlet side of the water hose, which I can't do with one hand. So there we go. It was just on there a little tight. You also got to unplug the other side. And I'll probably just turn this valve off so water's not gushing out of both sides, and it'll just come out the output here. But you're supposed to just turn this thing upside down so the water can leak out. And the resin will rise up to the top, so you kind of have to pound it back down once you get done draining the water out. So now all the water is draining out of the bottom, well I guess the top of the water softener. Very exciting. Drop it down. Tap it a couple times to make sure all the resin goes back down to the bottom rather than having it all clogging up the top. I probably have done this a couple too many times. It's probably good. I'll stop now. So the next step, as you can see my lovely sewer hose in the background here. Hold on a second. Need both hands again. So since we do just have the standard model, we'll now be pouring in the 26 ounces of salt. If you have the double, it'll be twice that. I don't know how much for the park model. You'll have to look that up. And then you literally just start pouring the salt in there and trying to actually get it in there instead of on the sides like I'm doing. I just poured a little bit of water over the top of the salt that was sticking on the top. That way it got down in there. But the next step is now to put the cap right back on here. Start pushing a little bit of water through here. Now you're going to want to put this water softener where you don't mind it pooling up water around the softener and stuff, because you're supposed to let the water flow out of here the size of a pencil, which I don't know how to compare that really to water, but turn this little valve here. It comes with this little valve, at least with the on-the-go. And you just want a little bit of water size of a pencil so you can adjust the flow with this thing, where it's just kind of trickling down the side of this. And I said for about 12 or 15 minutes. And no, I'm not just gonna sit here and film this for 12 or 15 minutes. So I'm gonna go finish doing some laundry, then I'll be right back. It really just depends where you are in the country. Where my parents were and we stayed for about 2 months, I think that also contributed to the hard water, because Indiana has some pretty hard water, but some parts of the country it's fairly soft and other parts it's hard. If I can find the map online, I'll just slap that up here so you can just see generally where the hard water is in the country, and it can vary on different parts of each state too. So just pay attention and get a hard water testing kit, and you can just kind of see if you need to even take out the water softener for that spot or not. All right, it's been about 12 or 15 minutes. I'm gonna move this in a place where I can kind of let it open up and not worry about water getting everywhere, and turn this guy full blast. Just kidding, I forgot to open up the rest of the water all the way. It flows a lot more than what it was. And this is why you want to put it in a place you don't mind it collecting water, because a lot of water comes out. And obviously the purpose of letting it run this long is to get the salt flavor out of the water. If you still have some salt water, you didn't rinse that out enough. You really shouldn't have any salty taste at all when you're using it. I'm sure if you're at a desert campground, they probably wouldn't want you to do this. All right guys, well I think that has been about 3 or 4 minutes, so we're gonna go ahead and turn this off, hook everything back up, and then go retest the hard water strip. Nope, still can't do it one-handed. Get it nice and tight so we don't leak water anywhere. Turn this valve back on. We now have water back in the RV. I'll let the water flow for a little bit to get the old water out of the system, and then we'll retest it. 1, 2, 3. And honestly, it doesn't look like it's changed too much, because I don't think we really needed to generate it. But I think we went down a little bit to between 0 and 2, so we're no longer between 2 and 4. And if you guys have stayed on this long, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I will give you an extra little pro tip here that I've learned while RVing. If you go to get a water pressure regulator, don't get the normal ones that you just find at Walmart or whatever. I mean, they work, they do limit it to 40 psi, but I've had 3 of those things go bad on me. 3 of them. And those aren't very cheap either. I ended up getting this one, but it is a nice regulator and it keeps it at 40 to 50 psi, just where you want it for an RV. And it's adjustable, so if it's going too high, you just loosen this guy up. If you want a little bit more water pressure, I mean, you're obviously going to be limited by the intake at your source, but you can adjust it with some micro adjustments just by using a small screwdriver, small flathead screwdriver, and turn it up or down, and it has been nice. Well guys, it's a chore day, so I need to go get my laundry, finish folding that up, and then might just watch a movie and relax tonight. So if you guys like this video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more videos like it. You can also check us out at dnsadventures.com. And as always, laundry on, or I guess adventure on.